The library door slammed behind me, echoing down the quiet aisles, and I felt my heart hammering like a wild drum. Bookshelves loomed around me, a comforting forest of spines and faded paper, yet today they offered no solace. Margaret Caldwell had been in my life for less than a year, but already she had an uncanny ability to make me feel small, insignificant. A prenuptial agreement. Me, Clara Bennett, signing away control over my own future before even promising my life to the man I loved. My hand had trembled as the pen hovered over the paper. Ethan had tried to reach for me, to whisper reassurance, but even his warmth felt inadequate under the cold, sharp scrutiny of his mother. "It's just business, darling," he had murmured softly. His thumb brushed mine. I wanted to recoil, to protest, to scream that this was humiliating, but I signed. Days after, I replayed that moment endlessly. The way Margaret's eyes had studied me, the polite curve of her lips while judging every inch of me. Her pearls glinted beneath the chandelier, her voice calm, controlling like a steel trap dressed in silk. "Oh, Clara, that dress is charming. Not quite what I expected," she had said one evening, her gaze assessing me like a museum curator critiquing a painting. I forced a smile, feeling my cheeks burn. Later, I overheard her whisper to a friend, "I suppose we'll see if she truly understands the world she's marrying into." The words struck deeper than any insult could. I clenched my fists beneath the table, forcing composure. I couldn't let them see me falter. Ethan tried to shield me, bless him, but I caught that fleeting expression on his face. The slight guilt, the discomfort. I understood him. He was trapped between love and family, and I had long learned that family always won. I thought the humiliation would linger forever. Then came the letter. I still remember the weight of the envelope in my hands, trembling as though it sensed the shift it carried. Aunt Rosalind Hale had passed away. My distant, eccentric relative, the woman who had occasionally sent me birthday cards and strange trinkets, had left me her estate, $50 million. 50 million. I read the letter 3 times, each word heavier than the last. I couldn't breathe. My chest expanded in disbelief, and a strange lightness followed, as if a hand had lifted a weight I didn't even realize I had carried. For the first time in months, I felt free. I didn't tell Ethan immediately. I wanted to feel it first, savor the possibility before letting him or anyone enter that space. When I did speak to him, the air was taut with expectation. He smiled, oblivious that the world as he knew it was about to change. I need to tell you something," I said, steadying my voice, yet letting the authority in it surprise even me. "What is it, Clara?" he asked, leaning forward. "I've inherited a significant amount from Aunt Rosalind," I said, watching his eyes carefully. His gaze flickered. Surprise, admiration, something calculated, almost imperceptible. "That's incredible. I'm so happy for you," he said, but I noticed the precision in his tone. Too controlled, too measured. I leaned forward, my hands resting lightly on my knees. "I want you to understand something, Ethan. This changes everything, not just the money, but how I see our relationship. I've been undervalued, controlled, dismissed, and I can't ignore it anymore." His brow furrowed. "Clara, No," I interrupted. "You don't get to explain. You and your family only valued me for what you perceived I lacked: vulnerability, wealth, influence. Now I have it. And I realize I don't need any of you to define my worth." He blinked, suddenly unsure, vulnerable. And for the first time, I remembered the timid Clara who had signed that humiliating contract. That girl would have cried, pleaded, begged for approval. But now I saw clearly. I thought you loved me," he said, voice quivering. "I did," I admitted softly. "I still care. But love isn't about control, humiliation, or contracts that strip you of dignity. I'm not that frightened girl anymore. I am stronger than everyone's expectations combined. And I won't pretend otherwise, not even for you." The engagement ended quietly, decisively. No shouting, no tears, no dramatic gestures. I walked out of the Caldwell mansion one last time, heels clicking on marble floors, aware of every pair of eyes tracking me. Shock, disbelief, realization that their carefully curated world had just shifted, and not in the way they expected. Returning to Larkspur Heights, I felt a strange exhilaration, a sense of reclaiming something I had never truly lost, myself. I thought of the women I had observed over the years, friends, colleagues, strangers, who had suffered under pressure, manipulation, and control. I had known their pain, felt it, and now I had the means to make a difference. The initiative I founded wasn't about revenge or flaunting wealth. It wasn't about spectacle. It was about empowerment, a safe space where women could reclaim agency, find mentorship, and heal. The first meeting was modest, a handful of volunteers, a few women seeking guidance, and some children in tow, but the energy was palpable, faces lit with hope, eyes shone with relief. For the first time, I realized that empowerment didn't shout, it whispered. It was deliberate, intentional, quiet. I never thought I'd feel safe asking for help, a woman whispered after the session, her voice trembling yet hopeful. "You're safe here," I said softly but firmly. "You're not alone, not anymore." Weeks stretched into months, and the initiative grew steadily. I watched lives transform before me, sometimes slowly, sometimes with surprising speed. I was no longer tethered by humiliation or expectation, no longer anxious about approval I didn't need. I was Clara Bennett, librarian, survivor, leader. At night, I sometimes stood by the window, watching Larkspur Heights twinkle below. I thought of Ethan, of Margaret, of the world I had left behind. I smiled quietly. Power had a new definition: patience, strategy, integrity, resilience. The sting of old humiliation sometimes resurfaced. Whispers, sidelong glances, memories of being belittled. But they were just echoes now. I had reclaimed myself. Every decision, every action, every forward step belonged to me. I expanded the initiative slowly, intentionally. We created mentorship programs, educational workshops, legal aid clinics. I met women like Mara, whose husband dictated every aspect of her life. Leela, a single mother forced into impossible financial strain. Helena, trapped by a controlling family. I listened. I advised. I watched them grow, often seeing transformations before they recognized them themselves. One afternoon, as I was walking through a new community center we had sponsored, a little girl tugged on my coat. "Are you going to help me be brave like you?" she asked, wide-eyed. I knelt to her level, holding her small hands. "You already are brave," I whispered, "and every day you'll get stronger." Ethan reached out once, months later. His voice, tentative over the phone, held a trace of hesitation. "Clara, I've been thinking." "You've done enough thinking," I said gently. "We both knew what that engagement was. I hope you learn to see people for more than what they appear to provide you." Silence followed, then "I understand." That was all I needed. Closure, not revenge, not anger, just understanding. Evenings grew long, painting Larkspur Heights in warm golds and soft rose. I would stand on my balcony, tea in hand, breathing in calm. The city buzzed below: life, ambition, struggle, hope. And I smiled, knowing the most profound victories are often silent. The laughter of women in the initiative became my music. The confidence in the children's eyes became my applause. No headlines, no grand gestures, just deliberate power, integrity, and action. I thought of Aunt Rosalind, who had unknowingly entrusted me with this chance. I thought of the girl I had been, trembling as I signed that contract. And I thought of the Clara standing here now, confident, serene, unshackled. I smiled quietly as the last rays of the sun disappeared. Tomorrow and every day after, I would continue to build, nurture, and lead, not for revenge, not for spectacle, but for empowerment, integrity, and lasting change. My inheritance had given me wealth, yes, but far more: autonomy, voice, purpose. For the first time in a long while, I felt a deep, enduring peace.